Over the weekend, I was grocery shopping with my wife. Neither here nor there. I'm not we didn't have much, but I'm not a self checkout kind of person. I like to get in line. I don't care if I have to wait. Part of me likes to chat it up with whomever. I know it's a flaw. Part of me likes to just look at the magazines when I'm waiting. Anyhow, there was an article in one of the magazines talked about dogs. It was a whole National Geographic issue devoted to dogs, and there was one little article in there talked about how dogs uh, tapped into people's senses, and they like body odor. The more body odor, the better. Don't shower. I like you when you don't shower. And there's a lot to it because dogs pick up things from our scent. In fact, it reminded me of a conversation I had with my sister over the holidays, and we were just talking about uh, support dogs, animal support animals, and she was saying she had been around one, and she was somewhat stressful with the situation. I won't get into it. That's neither here nor there. And the dog kind of picked up on it. It was a special needs, not a special needs dog, but a support dog. The dog picked up on it and went over and put his head on her lap or put his head next to her because he could sense that there was something wrong. And my sister then, so I'm just going to go take a nap. I just need to. And the dog followed her and stayed with her for the 3 hours that she took a nap. And, in thinking about this article and thinking about what my sister said, I started to realize or started to piece that together that there was something in the scent my sister was giving off um, that the dog picked up on. Maybe it was something visual. I don't know. But I'm guessing based on this article and what happened, and also what I'm about to share with you about our own sense. I came across this study or this article in Cyblog, the publication I subscribe to, and it was titled "Why Sniffing Women's Tears Reduces Men's Aggression by 50%." And what they did was they took men and I'm sure it's women on women too, but there's something in tears um, that signals, hey, I'm hurting, stop attacking, sort of a thing. And I don't know that they know exactly what it is. They just know it's something there. And what they did was they took men and they had them either smell a saline solution which had these same chemical compounds as tears, the same salinity as tears, and they had them smell tears. One group smelled the saline solution, the other group smelled tears, and then they had them play a game where it would cause them some angst, and at the end of the game, then they had the ability to take retribution against whoever they were playing against. Now, it doesn't really talk about what the game was, but they had a chance to punish the opponent for cheating. And what ended up happening is that the the men who smelled the tears, had dramatically reduced aggression with respect to the punishment, the retribution, or against their opponent. Um, and so there's something there, and it's just tears. So I started digging into it, and it's more than just tears. And we've seen this for years. You'll see something on TV or in a movie where somebody's really angry, usually a guy, really angry, and the woman starts crying, and immediately he breaks down, and he's he doesn't break down, but all of a sudden it just notches down his aggressions. I can't be mad. This woman's crying, and so there's something to this. And then again, they don't know what it is yet. They just know it's there, and that's the whole body of science, right? I mean, it's like we we theorized the moon wasn't made of cheese, and we actually went up and figured out it wasn't made of cheese, and actually this is what it is. So that's just how science advances itself. There's one hypothesis after another, and they just keep testing and testing and testing. But there were other studies out there that what they found is that people can identify personality traits through people's senses. And so what they did was they gave there was 60 people in the study, and they asked them to wear a plain white T-shirt for 3 nights. Avoid strong smelling food. Sorry, no Indian food, no Mexican food. You know, avoid strong smelling foods because you'll kind of perspirate that, and avoid perfumes. And then they handed in their shirts, and then they did tests on people, and people guessed people's personalities. You know, were they introvert, extrovert, dominant, you know, so on and so forth. And they went through, and there was a high correlation between people's ability to identify what people's personalities were. They didn't even meet the people. They just had their T-shirt that they wore 3 nights in a row. I mean, it's fascinating. And the point behind this, and I guess it gets deeper. Um, it gets more interesting than that because we can detect people's happiness. You know, we know when someone's happy, they smile, and that's infectious. But we also can tell that by their sweat, how they sweat. You know, we pick up on these things. Obviously, these things all go out the window with respect to Zoom. You know, you're not picking these things up over Zoom. I get that. And maybe that's a limitation on Zoom, one of the many limitations on Zoom. And maybe that's what I find when I'm on Zoom is that my mind is churning, trying to find more information, trying to sort out more information. And it could be well be that there are clues that I'm looking for. This is all very, very subconscious, right? There are clues that I'm looking for that I can't see. Okay, I can see the person's head. You know I can't see their hands. Well, what are they doing with their hands? Maybe they're fidgeting, and that would tell me that they're nervous, or how their feet are positioned. And it wouldn't consciously tell me that they're nervous necessarily, but it would be something that I would sort of pick up on. What something that I would normally pick up on in a face-to-face sort of encounter. But because I can't see it. And so I've always surmised that, maybe, just maybe, my mind is sort of churning, kind of when you're doing a search online or doing a search on your computer for a document, and it's just searching to try and find that document or find these keywords, and it's just kind of churning away and churning away. I kind of feel like that's what's happening with my mind. And maybe that's why we have Zoom fatigue, just because we're again, these are my theories. I don't know. I haven't tested them out, but that's how science is advanced. And if you see something out there, certainly let me know about it. But we're searching for things, and the information's not there. And it's probably the same when we talk to people on the phone. Geez, I don't know what their facial expressions are. At least I get that on Zoom. But I'm talking to somebody on the phone. It's just like I'm not getting anything. Well, even on Zoom now, we don't, you don't get to see what the hands are doing. For the most part, it's head and shoulders that you're getting. Every once in a while, you'll get somebody who's kind of a bigger, a wider view, I should say. But you're not seeing the feet. You're not seeing a whole lot of stuff. And maybe the other thing we're not picking up on is, are these chemo signalers is what they call them. Call it chemo signaling is what they refer to it as. That's the body of science. And we're not picking up on those things over Zoom. But when we're with people when we're with people in person, we sort of pick up on these things. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of, it's got a weird vibe from that person. Well, maybe it was a weird smell. Maybe, certainly it's how they're standing in their face, but there's also a body of evidence here that it we're possibly picking up on smell. And we as humans rely on so many other communication tools, talking, the ability to see things like that, how people talk compared to how they used to talk, that a lot of these other things have kind of been pushed to the back burner, or just not as relevant, I guess. Um, but maybe we should trust our gut a little bit more. It's kind of like It's kind of like a blind person has a heightened sense of hearing or a heightened sense of touch. It's sort of compensating. Um, and because we have all these other abilities to read things, because we have language now, right? We're relying on language, so we're not relying on this gut feel, these chemo signaling. Um, so just interesting stuff in my mind. It's very interesting that these things are happening. You know, we're not aware of them. We're just not consciously aware of them, but they're happening. And I think that's just more evidence that when you have a gut feel about people, that I'm not saying that's the only thing that you rely on. You certainly rely on what people are telling you, or you certainly put all that stuff into evidence. But I don't think you totally dismiss, hey, I've got a gut feel. There was something off there, or I could tell that they were upset. There was just something about them that was upset. I can't, they told me they were fine. They appeared to be fine, but there was just something there, and maybe there is something there. Maybe there is. The our abilities to understand our networks are literally under our noses. I mean, it's literally just a matter of, you know, uh, it's a matter of smell. And I'm not saying we need to go the route of dogs and start sniffing up on one another, but just understand that it's happening, and understand that you're picking up stuff and the other person's picking up stuff too. So it's kind of hard to hide our emotions or our personalities if this is truly what it's about. That our we pick up on uh, this chemo signaling. It's chemo signaling is what it's referred to. I'm looking at the article. Um, we're picking up on it, but we're giving it off as well. So just things to pay attention to. If you have a dog, pay attention to the dog. The dog can certainly pick up on things, pick up on unhappiness, and we're able to do the same damn thing. So pretty fascinating.